This is how you know it's cold outside. I woke up to about 17 degrees this morning. Let the chickens out. They go straight to the deck where there's a little bit of sun. They can catch a little bit of heat. Little frigid this morning, but I welcome it. We're going to go check some bees this morning and see how they're doing on their fondant patties. Let's go. So, it's been a little while since I've made a video. Let's see if I can remember the routine here, folks. Good morning. Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees, Central Ohio beekeeper. Like I said, I woke up to 17 degrees this morning. The ground is good and hard. What the heck's that, ladybug? Something that's going to give somebody a flat tire stuck right there in that chunk of mud. I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to leave it there. We'll move it over here. So what I want to do this morning is peek in on a couple of these hives and see how they're doing with their fondant patty. It's nice and cold, so just be quick. Look at that. Look how much of that they've ate. Looks really good. Got a roach, and there's the bees right there close. So they are eating on it, doing quite well in that one. This is the one that has a small cluster in it, and I'm actually surprised that they've lived this long. But it's awesome to see that they are still doing well. So let's go over here now and check Stan. Or this one's Sue, that one's Stan. You can see a little bit eating right there. The bees are right up against it. That's good. BroodMinders are in there. They're working well. Been keeping a close eye on them in the house. That SubHub, which I've got there, and that mite checker has done wonders for checking the sensors. It's very, very convenient to have that SubHub. They've ate a little bit off this side of theirs. So it does look like the bees are eating on their fondant. Let's check here. Ooh, look at that. Look how active they are. Like I said, right now it's 23, but we woke up to 17. Very, very active bees. And I can see some of the fondant missing underneath the label right there. I think next time I put the fondants in, instead of cutting my door and the back to open the patty so the bees can access it from the bottom, I'm going to put the label down and cut my door out of it. That way I've got a more clear view on how much of the fondant patty they're eating or have eaten. Her ladybug had a good Christmas, didn't you, ladybug? Her got some clothes to wear in the cold weather. The problem is her belly's a little bit big, so we got to get some Velcro extensions so it can wrap around her. I'm sorry, ladybug, I had to reveal the news. She's a little pudgy in the middle. She's a little pudgy. Aren't you a little pudgy girl, ladybug? But her is sweetheart. Her is the best dog ever. Come on, ladybug. Let's check another one. Let's go in this back row and check one. See what the heavy winds have done to my mini mating nukes. Kind of just destroyed them. Well, I don't really see anything broken. Here's something interesting though. After using them last spring, a wasp set up a nest inside of one of them. Ladybug, look at this mess, honey. I gotta pick this stuff up. Put my feeder back in there. Put the lid on. Let's stack them up, ladybug. Let's stack them up. There's another feeder. Back in there. The lid on. If you're curious about these mini mating nukes, I made a video on how I made them and how I set them up, and I'll share a link to that down in the video description. Here's another feeder. We'll go ahead and stick it in here. This one. That's to clean up the mess from the wind, ladybug. Okay, let's check this one. Look at that. They've eaten quite a bit of theirs. And they're right there. Small little cluster of bees left. Here we got some faces trying to come up. What are you doing out there? It's freaking cold. Go in the house. Stay warm. That's what they're telling me. Leave us alone. So, fondant patties. Working very well. I think it was about 2.5 weeks ago I went around and added fondant patties to the rest of these colonies, and here's a little tidbit on what that looked like. Now this colony has some pretty decent strength to it. I don't want to lollygag while I'm in there because I don't have my veil on. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and prep this one. Go ahead and cut our door. And so far, there we go. Just lift that right up, peel it back. Let's fold our edge up so it'll fit in there. See the bees are down in the bottom box. That buys me a little time to get that on. Put this back on. These back on. And my brick. Now we are done. On to the next one. You see how I'm not lollygagging around. I'm getting in there, getting it done, and moving on. This one's going to be a good one, folks. They're right at the top. Cut our door. Fold that back. Fold the edge up so it fits. Let me give you a look at them here. You can see they're starting to come up through a little bit. So I'm going to take this patty, I'm going to lay it right there, and I'm going to smush it down in place. The trick is you got to get it down in there far enough that your inner cover will seal. So there we go. Outer cover. And on to the next one. Just that simple, man. It really is. Cut our door. And I suppose you could probably cut that off. You're never gonna, oops. I suppose you could probably cut this flap off. It's not like you're ever gonna close it back up and store it in the freezer or anything. Just like that. close it back up. And done. So, fed. I've only got one more in the front row, and I don't really have any more shims. So I may have to make a shim today and add it in the morning. It's this one clear up front here that I don't have enough shims for. Right here. We got a bee up here roaming. They've got a lot of cat food yet, so I'm not really concerned with them going hungry. So what I'll do is take the remaining patties, still have some in the house. I bought a case of these. If you're interested in trying these out, I'll leave a link to Amazon where you can purchase these one at a time or by the case. I do want to make a note though, when I checked the other day, they were currently out of stock. And I'll also leave a link for Hive Alive where you can go over there and purchase any of their products, including these patties. So what I'll do is I'll take these back in the house and put them in our storage room. Have a little junk room. I think everybody's got a junk room, right? And it's not exactly heated, so they should do just fine in there. So that's what the fondant patties look like when I put them on and how I installed them. Pretty simple to do on a nice cold day. You just don't want to be in there very long, and you definitely don't want to be breaking frames apart. So remove the lid, add the fondant patty in your spacer, and close her back up. Now I want to talk a little bit about the SubHub. Put the SubHub from BroodMinder inside of my Easy Check because the unit itself is not waterproof. But let me tell you, at first I had this SubHub placed over on my deck. Now let's walk back over to my deck and I'll show you the view from my deck. Oh, we got a ducky going to go up on the deck now? Okay, so this is what it looks like, my bee yard from my deck. Now, at first I had the SubHub sitting up here on my grill, and that worked very well except for the hives on that side of the bee yard. It was like the signal couldn't penetrate through all of that wood of all the existing colonies lined up to shoot the signal this way. So all of the colonies on that end, or that side of the apiary, they just weren't syncing very well. So I did some experimenting with the sensor, and let me make a note here, from inside the house or here on the deck, I'm able to get the signal with my phone and sync everything very easily. So having the SubHub over in the bee yard is not a problem for syncing the devices. And the benefit to having the sensor, the SubHub, and the bee yard you can see it's kind of in a central location sitting up there on that hive. You see where it is? So now I'm not having any problems getting all of the readings from what's going on here in the bee yard. And the main one I was having problems with is 803 there. The hive scale, it just did not want to sync with the SubHub over on my deck. It's pretty much a straight row for it to sync the information to the SubHub. So that's worked very well. And over here we've had some more, not to change the subject or anything, but I see the wind's knocked over some empty equipment. I need to get that stacked back up. And a week or so ago I found, well, it's been more than a week because last week all it did was rain. It's probably been 2 weeks ago. I found some more comb down here on the ground. And that's just because that comb, it's very, very brittle. Look, here's another piece. It's very, very brittle when it's cold out. Well, here's an example. Watch what will happen when you pinch a piece of comb in 23-degree weather. This is the reason most suppliers will not ship foundation, wax foundation, in the wintertime, just because it'll fall apart before it gets to you. Ladybug, come here. Come here. Ladybug, come here. There's a car coming, honey. Oh, must have been the neighbor. You're fine. This here was obviously just a piece they had pollen and probably some nectar in. But the piece I found a week or so, or 2 weeks ago, had a little bit of old brood in it. And I want to share the video clip I shot on that with you right now. So check this out. This comb broke off because of the high winds and being so fragile. Now if we look at this, let's take it up here in the sunlight. Okay, so besides the pine needles you see stuck to it, you can also tell that some of these cells are capped. There's not nectar in them, and I can show you that by squeezing them. No nectar. What that is capped brood. This is brood that either was capped and the weather broke the capping off, or it never got capped. One of the two. It's not the greatest condition to be able to tell the exact situation. But I can tell you what it tells me is that rain that ended up forcing the swarm or the open air colony to leave is probably what killed this brood. The bees weren't able to keep it dry when, I'm going to guess, the cells were open, and all the larvae and the pupas, they all got wet, all the brood, and therefore the colony decided, you know what, this isn't working, let's hightail it out of here. But anyway, I thought it was interesting to be able to find a piece of this and see a little bit more of what was going on up there in the tree. So to look up in the tree right now, I see absolutely no comb. So this must have been the very last piece out of the tree. So I'm sure there's still some remnants stuck to the tree limb. Will that encourage swarms to land there? It's a possibility. But we're not done with winter. We get a nice heavy snowpack on these pine trees, it's liable to rip the rest of the comb off. So time will tell with what happens. Just have to hang tight and see. Okay, so I've moved inside. I wanted to finish the video with my new light that I got for Christmas, and I'll overlap a picture here to show you what it's like. You don't realize how much lighting you need until you start making videos, and then you edit them and you're like, boy, look how dark that is. So I requested this light for Christmas, and the wife got it for me, and it seems to be working very, very well. Look, you can even see lovely little ladybug laying over here on the couch. What I wanted to do, though, to close off the video is thank everybody for the well wishes while the family and I were going through COVID. And I also wanted to thank all my patrons for the financial support while I was sick and away. Now, COVID isn't the full reason that I've taken such a large break from making videos. While we were sick, actually right before Christmas, my daughter announced that she was ready to move in with her boyfriend. And 3 days later, she did just that. So it's been a little bit of a transition for me and the wife to get accustomed to not having her here, and it was a little bit of a kick in the gut, but I understand. You know, she's 19 years old, she's ready to get out and get a taste of the world on her own. Now, sure, as a parent, there's some things I would have rather seen her had in place before she moved, but she chose to go ahead and go. So I got to support her. I'm very proud of her. If you're watching this, Chelsea, me and Mom love you, and we're very proud of you. So so that took us a little while to get used to, and probably is a reason that I missed a few of my videos. So with that being said, we are now empty nesters, with the exceptions of Ladybug here, who's closer than it looks like in the camera. I keep elbowing her. A little Ladybug, this is our little girl now. This is who we got living with us, just me, Mom, and Ladybug. So it's like I said, it's taken a little bit of a transition for us to get used to, and look at her nudging me. Daddy, don't stop loving me just because you're recording. Anyway, folks, just wanted to give a big thank you and explain exactly what was going on. It wasn't just COVID. We were getting used to living alone again. It's been 19 years. So it's a little bit different when the daughter moved out. So, and still is a little bit bitter, but you know, we're adjusting, and Ladybug's keeping us extra busy, so that helps. Right, Ladybug? Such an active dog. You can tell she's just so active. So anyway, folks, thanks for the support, thanks for the wishes, and look forward to videos from here on out every week. Thanks for watching JC's Bees and Ladybug. Take care, folks.